Chuck Kaiton, how are you, sir?
Good. I can hear you now.
Yes, you can.
There you go.
Before we get to Four Nations, I know you guys who have done hockey games for nearly a half century, you guys all are in one giant fraternity, if you will. What did Mike Lang, longtime voice of the Penguins, what did Mike Lang mean, obviously, to Pittsburgh, but also to the sport in general?
Well, he was one of a kind, Adam, and he was a very good friend of mine since I met him going way back in 1979. In fact, October of that year, Hartford Whalers, Pittsburgh Penguins, the old igloo in Pittsburgh. I walk up to the booth with my radio equipment. I didn't have an engineer at the time, and then the booth right next to me was Mike Lang. And I knew about him having listened to him on KDKA when I was doing college hockey prior to joining the Whalers, so it was a real honor to meet him. And he just a terrific individual, so kind and so self-effacing. And he had a unique style, and I really revered our relationship over the years. In fact, he was one of our members on the Foster Hewitt Committee with the NHL broadcasters, where every year we honor a broadcaster at the Hockey Hall of Fame, and he was on my committee, so he will be sorely missed. But just as a great friend, and it is just so unfortunate that he had to pass away at what I feel is a young age, since I'm only 3 years younger than him. And so, hey, just a great guy, and I'll never forget him and all the memories that he gave me in all the years that we broadcast together.
Scratch my back with a hacksaw will live forever. Well beyond what we're doing right now. What would he think? What would he think, and what do you think about what we're about to watch tonight at 8 o'clock?
Oh, I think that Mike is going to be watching from the press box of the sky at this game and really enjoying it as much as I will and as much as any Hurricane or NHL fan will, because it was very compelling. I heard you talk about the first game between the two teams and how there's nothing to play for but pride, and you are absolutely right, Adam. But that pride factor is large when you haven't had international competition in almost a decade of this magnitude. And so to the players who are playing in this, who never had the opportunity to be in, say, the 96 Canada Cup, obviously, or even in 2010, save Sidney Crosby, with the Olympics, this is going to be another terrifically emotional game. And I don't know if any emails have been sent or texts have been sent to the opposite side about starting 3 fights in 9 seconds. Don't expect to see that to happen, but I do expect to have a very emotionally charged game at the TD Garden tonight.
Maybe it was my fault going in. Chuck Kaiton is joining us here in the Adam Gold Show. Because I just it's great. We have Four Nations tournaments, best on best, but it's essentially the All-Star break, and I thought that there would be kind of a meeting of the two, that it would be better than All-Star game intensity, but not quite what we're used to. I was blown away, and I thought, and to me, it started with Canada-Sweden, the first game. That's when I noticed, okay, this is going to be different, because it was real hockey. It was real NHL hockey with guys wearing their national team colors.
And I guess the only people who are kind of holding their breath through all of this, Adam, and certainly from what we saw in all the rivalry games, even when you looked at Sweden and Finland, who are just like the United States and Canada, mortal enemies when it comes to the ice, general managers are holding their breath right now, and so are owners, not to see the kind of injuries that we've already seen with some of these teams, especially on the U.S. side, although they're going to get everybody but Charlie McAvoy back tonight, from what I'm told. They're holding their breath about injuries. When Brady Tkachuk went into the net there and actually was kind of cushioned by the goalie pad to some extent. And, of course, with Matthew Tkachuk with some groin issues that he's had most of the season, and then Austin Matthews with a back problem and all of the things that went in, Charlie McAvoy now with a shoulder injury. I mean, all of these teams are kind of holding their breath that they hope their superstar is not going to get hurt in this particular game. So they have to get through one more game, but it's going to be a highly intense game, and I can't wait for it to start because you're right. It has been compelling hockey. It has been serious hockey, and it just goes to show how important it is for these young men to play for their countries. It's just mind-boggling, as you mentioned, that you would see this kind of intensity and structure and coming together of all of these superstar players and all of them accepting their roles as they have. I mean, Dylan Larkin, a fourth liner, just as one example, or a guy like Brad Marchand, a fourth liner on Canada. So, again, all of these guys, it's all country first instead of self.
Yeah, by the way, it looks like Seth Jarvis is going to draw back into the lineup tonight for Canada. So we'll have somebody to root for on both sides, Hurricanes fans. And let's talk about the other guy real quick. Because, it's funny. At some point when people keep calling you underrated, you're not really underrated anymore. When everybody says, man, he's such an underrated player, he's not really underrated. Jacob Slavin is what he is. One of, if not the best defensive defenseman in the entire NHL. And I thought, and to me, he was, I put out stars after games, and for me, he was the best player in the USA-Canada game Saturday night.
Nathan,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Nathan McKinnon wanted no part of trying to deal with Jacob Slavin down the right side. He wanted no part of it. He aborted almost every mission going down the right. Thought, let me try something else. To me, he was the best player.
I don't disagree with you at all. And what makes him a great player and what I guess makes him underrated to a lot of people is he does things so elegantly and so economically that you take him for granted. I mean, he's got, first of all, a wide reach. He plays the game cleanly. He's always in great position. And all of those things add up. I mean, the average player, or the average fan doesn't see all of that stuff because he makes it look so easy because he's never scrambling around. He's always in good position. He knows when to pinch offensively to keep a puck in. He knows when to back off. He's always in tremendous position in his own zone. He knows how to and when to stand up at the blue line to nullify some of that neutral zone speed that you're talking about that a guy like Nathan McKinnon and, for that matter, Connor McDavid have. He's just got this knack. It's a sixth sense. I mean, he's terrific. Again, I guess the underratedness comes from the fact that he makes it all look so easy, and he plays the game, and I hate this term, the right way. I mean, he doesn't go out of his way. He doesn't slash you. He doesn't high-stick you. He doesn't try to get an advantage illegally. And it's just a testimony to what kind of a character he is. And, in the little time that I knew him, when I was around, he was just a class act in every manner of speaking, both on and off the ice.
All right, so what tips the scales in favor of one nation or the other? Does it matter that the USA won Saturday? It's hard to beat a team twice, blah, blah, blah. Who do you like tonight?
Well, I mean, there's two different dimensions here. First of all, I like the U.S.'s goaltending. Connor Hellebuck is, I think, the better of the two goaltenders over Jordan Binnington. So that's one of the key areas to look at. But the X factor, again, for this game, the U.S. is going to have to solve the Cale Makar puzzle because they didn't have to deal with that the first time around.
Right.
Cale was out with an illness, so that's going to be what kind of impact is he going to have offensively, and especially on the power play. Although I don't expect a lot of power play opportunities for either team tonight, I think the referees will let them play, and I would be surprised if Wes McCauley isn't one of the two referees in this game tonight. And obviously they're going to let him play. I mean, unless it's something flagrant. So the power play may not be as essential for either team. So it's going to have to be 1 5-on-5, and my money's still on the United States because of the goaltending matchup.
Yeah, I think goaltending, and honestly, I'll be surprised if Slavin and Brock Haber don't play 24 minutes tonight together.
Oh yeah, I mean, Jacob is the best defenseman on the U.S. team, hands down. You said it best before. I mean, there's no question about it. He'll be on, and I know Mike Sullivan knows that. The whole coaching staff knows that with Team USA. And so, as you mentioned, he's not underrated to hockey people, that's for sure.
No.
But, that's going to be, and I think that, Cale Makar adds the offensive dimension to the Canada defense. So, again, it may be a toss-up. It's probably going to be a one-goal game again. It's going to be a low-scoring game, I think, again. And so we'll see what happens. But my bet is on Connor Hellebuck, the Brighton, Michigan native. So we'll see what happens here. But I'd say goaltending is still the key here, no matter what people say about all the dynamism of the McKinnons and the McDavids and those type of people. That's how I feel, Adam, at least. Yeah.
I agree with you 100%. Chuck Kaiton, Hall of Fame voice of the Hartford Whalers and the Carolina Hurricanes. Will we see you Thursday for next Thursday for Whalers night?
I don't know. I haven't thought about it. I actually didn't know. In fact, the answer will probably be no, because I have another job that night, and I was just informed of it. I will be the voice of the St. Louis Blues next Thursday night as they play the Washington Capitals. Yes. It's funny you mentioned next Thursday, because actually it never occurred to me that it was Whalers night here, but next Thursday I happen to have a date up at I don't know what it's called anymore. Is it the MCI Center, the Verizon Center, Capital One Center? It's the Washington Capitals and the St. Louis Blues, and I am going to sit in for Chris Kerber that night because Kerber had a death in his family, and he asked me to take over for him. And I won't be able to fill his shoes, but I will try to be an adequate replacement, at least on one night, for the people that listen on KMOX.
Chuck Kaiton, Hall of Fame voice of hockey. All right, sir. I'll talk to you very soon. Enjoy the game on Thursday. We'll talk to you later.
All right. Thanks very much, Adam. Take care.